Hey everybody, welcome to Cage My IQ. As always, I'm your host D-Bake, and today I will be recapping Bellator 263, which was headlined by Patricio Pitbull Freire defending his featherweight championship against AJ McKee in the finals of the Bellator Featherweight Grand Prix. As always, this is Cage My IQ, the best place for MMA content. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at the handles to the left. As always, we are part of the Fighters First Network. You could go to the handle on YouTube to the left, subscribe to the Fighters First YouTube page, give us a like and a comment on the video, and don't forget on this video to like it and let us know what you thought of the Bellator pay-per-view that was on. And then also, if you can, go to firesfirst.shop and scroll down to the Cage My IQ collection and check out our two different styles of merch that we have out now for the podcast. We have the shirt that you can get in three different styles. And then we also have the hoodie just in time for the fall in the next month or two. So if that's the stuff that you like to wear come fall time, go get your black hoodie right now on Fighters First and let us know what you think. But we do have more styles that we're going to come out with, possibly white. We could come out with a red one or a blue one. But let us know what you think. And then if you buy anything, also let us know, and I'll give you guys a shout out on the next Cage My IQ show next Monday, and because we support our viewers as you guys support us. So let us know, and then we'll give you a shout out. But let's get started with the action that we have here on this Bellator pay-per-view card. The first fight that we have with you today is a nice first matchup that sees Goiti Yamaguchi in this lightweight matchup defeat Chris Gonzalez by first round TKO. In this matchup, you thought that Goiti Yamaguchi was going to use his submission game and his striking to attack Chris Gonzalez, to where you thought Chris Gonzalez was going to focus more on his wrestling to try and get down Yamaguchi, then use that to control the fight and then to go for ground and pound. But what really actually happened was the fact that Goiti Yamaguchi used his aggressiveness and used his leg kicks early to combat the Chris Gonzalez takedowns, and he really only had one takedown attempt that he could get into, which wound up being stuffed, and then get him pushed, and then Goiti pushed him into the fence because of his aggressiveness. Like when a guy is aggressively attacking forward on you and throwing strikes and kicks at you, it's harder for you to get down and get into that position to go for the takedown. And that's what happened here. He was able to stuff the takedown defense and was able to just go at Chris Gonzalez, and it cultivated a few minutes into the first round with him attacking him with a combination of left to right, and then a knee that put Chris Gonzalez to the mat. And then that's where Yamauchi finishes Chris Gonzalez off with the ground and pound, where Joey Beltram just calls for the fight because Chris Gonzalez was taking too much damage. And we see Goiti Yamaguchi defeat Chris Gonzalez by first round TKO to get himself back in the winners column, and shows that his striking has improved, and he should be able to get a step up in competition and keep that progression going as a more all-around fighter than he was perceived to be before, because he has 20 of his 26 now victories by submission. But this was a great showing by him, and I'm intrigued to see where he lands up next in Bellator in the future. In the second matchup on the card, we had a men's lightweight matchup that saw Islam Mamedov make his debut and defeat veteran Brent Primus by split decision. This was kind of a boring fight in the sense, but it was great to see them go at each other and see the technicians attack each other, because Islam Mamedov defeated him by split decision, but there was really no action in this fight. Islam Mamedov only had 25 total strikes, whereas Brett Primus had only 17 strikes. And then Islam Mamedov had 3 takedowns, 1 in each round, that controlled over half the round on each fight. But that's all where he needed, because once he got down, got Primus down each round, what happened was them just having a chess match with each other, to where Islam takes him down and he's going to go start getting offensive striking going with the wrestling sambo game. But then Brett Primus would just keep him in check with the go-go platter, with the submissions, constant moving, and he would hook the hands of Mamedov each time. So basically, they're for half of each of all 3 rounds, they'd be fighting positions, getting in and out, in and out. You'd see Mamedov go over the submission attempt, jump back in the front guard into the wrestling spots, but then you see Brett Primus move back into the submission attempts, and then they take the arms each time of Mamedov, which would cause Mamedov to pick him up and get him against the cage to get a better position. But at the end of the day, that took up 70 or 80% of this fight, which is why the offensive pour out was so low. And at the end of the day, 2 of the 3 judges scored it 29-28 Islam Mamedov, whereas 1 judge scored it somehow 29-28 Brett Primus. And that's why you have Islam Mamedov defeating Brett Primus in his second fight on the card by split decision. But this was a stereotypical sambo fighters type of fight, getting the fight down, get it nitty gritty, and to keep the other opponent's strike in count low to just get enough to win by decision. And that's what he does. And he makes his debut with a win. So I don't know what to see next of him, but if we see this again by him, we're going to need to see more offensive pour out from Islam Mamedov. But I think that was mostly because of the veteran technician that Brent Primus is. He was able to negate a lot of that by submission attempts and movement. And I'm pretty sure we're going to see a better version of Islam Mamedov moving forward. Moving on to the third fight on the Bellator card, we had a men's lightweight matchup that saw Usman Nurmagomedov defeat Manny Muro by first round TKO. In his last fight, which was his debut, Usman barely defeated his opponent, which was a back and forth fight where I thought game almost beat him narrowly, but they gave the victory to Usman, and he looked a lot erratic in that fight. He kept on making mistakes, but in this fight, it was a really big 360 flip for him, as he looked so sharp. He was sure of himself. Whatever he was making mistakes on, he didn't make it this time. And he basically started out throwing a few high leg kicks to Muro's head, which he connected on a couple. And he was just attacking him. He was pretty precise with what he wanted to do. He attacked Manny Muro with the leg kicks, and then he went for the sambo takedowns. He got to him early, and he just threw him down. And then he quickly, when he got him down, he would go to Manny's back right away, and he would go for the rear naked choke, which he didn't get, but he was rolling around making sure that he was hitting him while he had his back. Manny was able to get back up eventually, but then he got taken down 2 more times. He gets back up. Somehow Manny was able to turn around and get Usman against the fence, but then Usman was able to turn that around and get Muro against the fence. And as they're going back and forth with a minute and 20 or so left, all you see is Usman catch Manny Muro with the straight knee to the ribs, which you just see Manny Muro fall down to the mat in pain, and then you see Usman finish him with a few hammer fists before the referee calls for the end of the fight, and we see Usman Nurmagomedov defeat Manny Muro by first round at TKO in his men's lightweight matchup, and you see him move to 2-0 in Bellator. And once again, you have another Khabib protege get the victory. You have Islam get in the second fight. You got him get it. whatever Habib touches turns to gold, and all of his fighters just keep on winning. And that's what happens. The one of the best fighters in UFC coaches you, you listen to him, and he is making these fighters better, and then he has done something from last fight to this fight to sharpen up Usman's tools and make him use his strengths and not come in sloppy. And then this was a great performance by him. He was able to get the quick 3-4 minute TKO, and then he moves on to his next fight and likely a top 10 matchup in the Bellator lightweight division. And I see him as a threat because not only can he throw these vicious high leg kicks, but he can strike, he can take you down, and then he can get your back with ease with how he does. So he's going to be a threat in the future in Bellator, and I give him a couple more fights until he gets into that top 5 of the lightweight division. But as always, Usman Nurmagomedov wins this fight by first round TKO. This moves us to the co-main event of the evening, to me, the fight of the night. But we have a men's featherweight matchup that sees Mads Burnell, aka the Mad Hatter, defeat Emmanuel Sanchez by unanimous decision. This was a fun back and forth fight that just saw each fighter just attack each other with striking and then kicks, more so striking. You saw Emmanuel Sanchez use the distance and use his height advantage to just throw strikes that were just in his range where he can throw it, get back out, and avoid shots. But then you saw at times Mads Burnell able to get in, throw left or right strike, and then he also threw a lot of leg kicks. He connected on 17 to 20 leg kicks, whereas Emmanuel Sanchez only connected on 5 or 6 leg kicks. But then the equalizer, the X factor in his fight, was the takedowns. Mads Burnell was able to set up his takedowns with his striking. Of course, in the fight, Emmanuel Sanchez had 85 total strikes to Mads Burnell's 50, 59, or 60 strikes. But then Mads Burnell was able to counter that with his 7 of 8 takedown attempts that were successful. And nowadays, the takedowns aren't as heavy graded as they were in the past. But when you have that close similarity, and then you basically look at it by round, Emmanuel Sanchez only had like 4 or 5 strikes around more than Mads Burnell, but then Mads Burnell had 2 takedowns in each round, except for the third where he had 3. That makes a difference in a fight, and that's why the judges scored each round higher for Mads Burnell, to where at the end of the day, Mads Burnell was able to win on the judges' scorecard 30 to 27, and I think 1 or 2 judges scored it 29 to 28. But it's basically by him keeping the striking in each round close, thanks to his leg kicks that were being very effective, and then by his 2 or 3 takedown attempts that were successful in each round. They were able to negate a lot of Sanchez's action. Sanchez would start to get going, and then he would get taken down, and it would be the same thing each takedown attempt. And then at the end of the day, he was able to squeak out this unanimous decision victory over Emmanuel Sanchez, who just a couple months ago fought in the semifinals of the Grand Prix and lost to Patricio Freire, who was the champion at the time. And then in their first fight before that, he fought him to a 5-round just a great fight that he narrowly got edged by Pitbull Fury, and then that puts Mads Burnell in top 5 status now in Bellator in this featherweight division. I could see him getting a title shot, but I think he's going to need one more fight before he can get that title shot. He's right there. He has won every fight that he needs to. He's looked sharp. Like he's made UFC regret letting him go too early because like he went 1-2 in the UFC. They let him go, and now he's blossomed here in Bellator with his striking, his takedowns, and his submission game. It just wrapped up all into one, and the Mad Hatter is now in the cusp of getting putting himself into Bellator's main event status now, and I'm waiting to see who they're going to book him next. But like I said before, as long as he wins that fight, you can guarantee that he's going to get a title shot right afterwards against the champion, whoever that is at that time. But now moving from this to the main event of the evening, we have the men's featherweight matchup for the featherweight championship and the crown of featherweight Grand Prix champion, in which we saw J McKee defeat Patricio Pitbull Freire by first round submission. This fight lasted no more than a minute. It started out basically how J McKee saw it, which he wanted to happen, and then it happened. He started out keeping the distance. He was throwing a few leg kicks, and then he was basically keeping Pitbull Freire from getting close to him and hitting him with a power shot that he's known for. And then once Pitbull Freire thought that he had it open, and he went for a strike, and that's when AJ McKee connected with the high leg kick to Pitbull Freire's head. That saw Pitbull Freire fall to the mat. As soon as he fell to the mat, he got back up right away, but McKee was no slouch, attacking him right away, and he bum rushes him, and that's when Freire falls back to the cage and starts backpedaling, and that's when McKee starts throwing strikes at Freire, and right after he's done throwing a fury of strikes, he locks in the guillotine hold right onto Freire because it was wide open for the taking. And then all you see is him lock it in, squeeze it for a good 5-10 seconds, and then that's when you see Freire's hands drop. And then as you see him going back up a little bit, you could see that Freire was losing consciousness and it looked like his hands were about to go back down again. And then that's when Jerry Beltran calls for the fight, because he knew that even though Freire was trying to defend it, that it was in the best interest to call the fight because he was losing consciousness. And that's where the fight ends. You see AJ McKee defeat Patricio Pitbull Freire by first round submission. And you see, not only do you see AJ McKee win the men's featherweight Grand Prix and the $1 million, but you also see him crowned as your new men's featherweight champion right there. As you see, he looked so sharp there. He was so confident in himself going into this, and then he proved himself by getting this victory over one of the best fighters in arguably Bellator history in Patricio Pitbull Freire, a guy that has fought everybody in that division. I don't know what's next for Pitbull Freire. Maybe a rematch. I don't know. It depends on his contract status and where he is with Bellator. But I could see a star rising here in AJ McKee, where he just wins by any means necessary. This is the second or third. This is the second time that he's been able to get a submission like that just out of nowhere. He has the height. He has the legs. He can strike. He can submit you, get you to the ground, and even when you're on the ground, he can lock you up in any submission he can. But he is making himself a name after this victory, and he's telling people that he wants to be the new face of MMA for Bellator. And if Bellator was smart, they book him wisely from here on out and make sure that he is the main event on every card that he fights on now. But I gotta wait to see who he's going to fight next. The logical choice would be to book a rematch between these two, but we don't know yet. But just after this fight, he showed dominance in getting that 1 minute victory over the champion, and now he is the champion. He's $1 million richer. He also has the belt for winning the Grand Prix. But at the end of the day, the stars are shining for AJ McKee, and then we have to wait to see what's next for Patricio Freire in Bellator. But that will wrap things up with this recap of Bellator 263. As always, I'm your host, D-Bake. And before we get going, I just want to get a shout out to our sponsors. First, 99 Jersey. Use promo code SportsBoxShow20 at checkout to receive 20% off your next purchase. Then we got Oddsjam. All you gotta do is go to the link in bio so you never miss a bet again. Uh, they're constantly changing odds, and what all you have to do is sign up to Oddsjam. Which all you have to do is go to the link in the bio that we have of this video, click it, sign up, and then watch as all the lines change as Oddsjam helps you pick the best bets at the right time so you never miss or lose a bet again. And then lastly, we have High Tide Herbal. Use promo code CageMyIQ10 at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase. As always, this is a company owned by coaches and athletes who specialize in speedy recovery. They use CBD and all the oil, and then all they care about is helping their athletes and then all the people that they help out recover faster. And what better way to do that than to use High Tide Herbal? So once again, use promo code CageMyIQ at checkout to receive 10% off your next purchase. As always, like I said before, this is Cage My IQ. This was the Bellator 263 recap. You can find our preview and recap for Bellator 264 coming up in 2 weeks. That will be headlined by Gegard Mousasi defend his championship belt against number one contender John Salter. So look out for that in 2 weeks, and then get ready to check out all the action here on the Fighters First Network, whether it's Cage My IQ, Art of MMA, or anything else. But as always, I'm your host, D-Bake, and you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Talk to you guys later.